In the first example here, we have the measure of angle 4 at 118, and we have to find the measures of the other angles in this picture. Now what we should notice is that these two lines are parallel. These little arrowheads tell us that these lines are parallel. So all those relationships about corresponding angles, alternate interior angles, same side interior angles, and alternate exterior angles will all be true. So we're going to use those to find at least some of these angles here. So the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to mark angle 4 as 118 degrees. I'm going to take this written information and make sure I put it on my picture. And then let's just see what we can do with that. And I'm going to try to use mostly the ideas from this section to find the rest of the angles. So I'm going to start off by asking myself, well, which angle down here corresponds to angle 4? And that would be angle 8. And I know that my corresponding angle should be congruent. So angle 8 is going to be 118 degrees. Then I might ask myself, well, what about the alternate interior angle with angle 4? That would be angle 5 over here. So that's going to be 118 degrees. And then maybe what about the same side interior angle with angle 4? That would be angle 6. And I know same side interior angles should be supplementary. So angle 6 should be 180 minus 118, which will be 62 degrees. And then that kind of exhausts all the things that I would have for angle 4, because it's not an exterior angle, so it wouldn't have an alternate exterior angle partner. It's an interior angle. It had that alternate interior angle partner. So then let's maybe look at how we could find angle 3. And I could say, well, angle 3 and angle 6 should be the same because they're alternate interior angles. So angle 3 should be 62 degrees. And then what about angle 2? Well, angle 2 would be corresponding to angle 6. So they would have to be congruent for that reason. So angle 2 would be 62 degrees. What about angle 1? Angle 1 should be the same as angle 8 because they're alternate exterior angles. So since angle 8 is 118, angle 1 would be 118 degrees. And then angle 7 down here is the only one that we have left. There's a couple things we could look at. We could maybe say that it's corresponding to angle 3, so it should be the same, making it 62 degrees. Now I know that for each of these answers that we got, there's other reasons why they would have to be the same. Like we could use things that we learned in a previous chapter, like vertical angles being congruent or linear pairs being supplementary. A lot of reasons that we could use to try and find the ones that are missing. I just tried to concentrate on what we learned in this section. Now in example 2 here, we have a similar kind of question, except that this angle right here, it just says x. And I'm going to call that angle 5, because if I look at the other angles, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. That would there be 5, 6, 7, 8. So I'll be calling that angle 5 as I go through this problem. So for this one, we are going to be finding the measures of angles 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, and 8. Now, what I don't have in this problem, as opposed to the other one, was the actual measure of this angle. It just says x. But if I think about angle 1 right here, I know that angle 1 and this angle should be the same because my lines are parallel and those are corresponding angles. So if this angle is called x, then I think angle 1 would also be x. So I'll put x for angle 1. Again, I'm expressing each angle in terms of x. So that angle 1 would just be x. How about angle 3? Well, angle 3 is an alternate interior angle with the one that says x, with angle 5 here. So angle 3 would say x. The other one I could look at is angle 2. It's a same side interior angle with angle 5 down here. And we know that same side interior angles should be supplementary. So that means angle 2 would be 180 degrees minus x. So it would be 180 minus x degrees. 180 minus x. Now what about angle, let's look at angle 8. I know that angle 8 and angle 2 should be the same because they're alternate interiors. So if angle 2 says 180 minus x, then I can look at angle 8 and say that it is 180 minus x. So let's put that on the picture, 180 minus x there. How about angle 4 now? Angle 4 and angle 8 are corresponding, so they should be equal to each other. So angle 4 should have a 180 minus x. 180 minus x. Angle 6 would be an alternate exterior angle with angle 4. So alternate exterior angles are congruent when my lines are parallel. So angle 6 would be 180 minus x. And that leaves angle 7, which we could say is corresponding to angle 3, perhaps. So angle 7 would be x. And there I found all the ones that are missing. And this time, again, it was in terms of x. So we don't know exactly what that is, but if we found out that that x was 60 degrees, then we could just put a 60 for each of these x's to figure out what all these angles are. Now, example 3 is a little bit more complicated. It says in the diagram, segment AC is parallel to segment EG. So I'm going to mark those. First I'm going to trace out segment AC in my blue with my blue marker, and segment EG I'll trace that out with my blue marker. All right, so this information I'm putting in blue on my picture. They are parallel. Segment JA is parallel to segment BH, so I'm going to trace that out in red. I like to color code things just to help me understand what's happening. And it says segment JC is parallel to segment KD, so I'll trace that out in my green marker. And one of the things that's supposed to be in this problem, and that I forgot to put on this version of the note sheet, is the measure of angle EJF. The measure of angle EJF is supposed to be 56 degrees. So I'm going to add that to my picture. 56 degrees right there. Knowing all of that, you might have to add this to your note sheet. You might have a copy of the note sheet that doesn't have this on it, so make sure. So now what we have to do is we have to find these 4 angles. Angle 1, angle 2, angle 3, and then angle FHK, which is this angle right there. So if I look, so what this problem is actually kind of testing you on is, can you only concentrate on the part of this picture that you need to look at to find each of these things? Because if I'm looking for angle 1, there's a lot of parts in this picture that don't have anything to do with angle 1, and so I can kind of tune them out. Like for instance, these 2 green segments down here, they don't have anything to do with angle 1. So I can kind of ignore basically the bottom half of this picture. And it also might help if I extend these segments out here, here, and here, so that I notice that right in here I have my 2 parallel lines crossed by a transversal, and angle 1 and the 68 degree angle are same side interior angles. So that tells me that if I take that 68 degree angle and add the measure of angle 1, I should get 180. So the measure of angle 1 is going to be equal to 180 minus 68, which is 112 degrees. And then I'm going to go ahead and put that on my picture right here for angle 1. If I look at angle 2, I might want to notice that if I look at the 2 blue lines as the parallel lines, and I look at segment JA as the transversal, I'm going to extend this segment a little bit here. So I'm looking at this and this as my parallel lines, and this as my transversal. Then the 68 degree angle and angle 2 are corresponding angles. And so that would mean that the measure of angle 2 is equal to 68 degrees. So this is part A, this is part B. The measure of angle 2 is 68 because it's corresponding to this 68 degree angle. And again, I'm just focusing on this line parallel to this one with this transversal coming in. I'm not paying attention to this red line, I'm not paying attention to the green segments, just the blue one here, the blue one here, and then this transversal going across. That's how I figured out that angle 2 is 68. Let me write that in my picture. So I'll just put an arrow there that says 68 degrees for angle 2. And angle 3 down here, I might want to look at that and say, well, okay, angle 3 is made by this blue segment and this red segment, so I don't care about the green ones again. They don't have anything to do with angle 3. And then I might maybe look at bringing in perhaps this other red segment. So I'd have my red parallel to my red and then crossed by this transversal. In that situation, this angle, this angle 2, which is 68 degrees, is a corresponding angle with angle 3. These two are corresponding. So that means that the measure of angle 3 will be the same as the measure of angle 2, which is 68 degrees. Now finally we have to find the measure of angle FHK. So I'm going to put a little question mark down there just so I remember which angle I'm finding for part D. Now this one uses one of the green segments. So I'm going to bring in this other green segment here. So I have these two parallel segments, and then I have the segment or the line that connects H to B is going to be my transversal. In that instance, this angle would be congruent to angle BFJ because they would be corresponding angles. So this angle here and this angle here are going to be congruent. So I could try and find the measure of angle BFJ. And I could do that perhaps by looking at the other parts that I know go right here. For instance, I know that this is 68 degrees. Angle 3 is. Where does this 56 come in? Well, this part right here, this angle here and this angle here, they are actually alternate interior angles when I'm looking at the two red lines crossed by this transversal. So that 56 degrees would also be right here. So maybe what I want to do, I don't necessarily want to, maybe I don't even care about this angle right here, because now I can look and say this angle, the 56 degree angle here, and my mystery angle, the one I'm trying to find, those are same side interior angles. So that tells me that if I take the measure of angle FHK and I add it to 56, I should get 180. And so then the measure of angle FHK is equal to 180 minus 56, which is 124 degrees.